Hello. Can I have your attention? Can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention, please? Please start taking your seats. We will be starting in about 2 minutes. Please start taking your seats. Thank you. The State of the City will start. The State of the City will start in 30 seconds. Oh. I did the wrong one, Alec. Alec, where were we? What was this set to? I pulled the wrong thing. Okay. Okay. If everybody could please take their seats. Please take their seats. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 City of San Leandro State of the City Address. Please welcome to the stage Chamber of Commerce CEO, Emily Grego.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Okay. I don't know if you can see me behind all of this. I'm, a little on the smaller side. Good evening, everybody. I'm Emily Grego. I'm President and CEO of the San Leandro Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the 2023 State of the City Address with Mayor Juan Gonzalez. This is his first time that he's addressing our community. We're all looking forward to it. I also want to let everybody know that your Chamber of Commerce, the San Leandro Chamber of Commerce, is celebrating 100 years of being in business. So I want to say thank you to everybody here, all of our members, all of our community, for all of the support that you've showed the Chamber of Commerce through all those 100 years. Before we get started, I want to make sure that I recognize our elected officials who are with us this evening. I do know that we have with us City of San Leandro Council members. We have Vice Mayor Brian Azevedo, Selena Reyes, Councilmember Selena Reyes, Councilmember Victor Aguilar, Councilmember Sue Bowen, Councilmember Fred Simon, Councilmember Pete Ballou. We also have with us this evening Murphy McCallie, AC Transit Board member. If you want to say hello, wave your hand. There you are. We have Trustee Linda Granger, Board Trustee representing San Leandro on the Chabot Las Positas Community College District Board. If she wants to say that. We also have Ron Gerhard, Chancellor of the Chabot Las Positas Community College District. Dr. Susan Sperling, President of Chabot College. We have Yvonne Wu, Director of the Friends of Chabot College Foundation. And we have Dion Ramos, Director of PR, Marketing, and Government Relations. Thank you all for being here. I also want to make sure that we recognize our past San Leandro Board Chair, Kristen Anderson. I believe she is here. And our current board chair, Kushel Nayak, I know he was going to be here. I haven't seen him quite yet. Oh, there he is. He's way in the back. Thank you for being here, Kushel. He's our current board chair. And then, of course, I want to thank all of our sponsors. All of our sponsors and our members is what makes the Chamber of Commerce work. It's how we're able to have events like this. So we've got a long list of them, but they deserve the moment to be recognized. So I'm going to just go off and recognize all of them. We have Ghirardelli Chocolate, Marina Inn on San Francisco Bay, Waste Management, Kaiser Permanente, Alameda County Industries, Davis Street Community Center, Eric F. Anderson Incorporated, Gate 510, Alco Iron. We also have State Farm Jerry Garcia, Maximus Real Estate Partners, Alameda Health Systems, the San Leandro Hospital, AC Transit, and FH Daily Chevrolet. Let's give them a big round of applause. So one of the nice things about being a sponsor is you get a few minutes to come and say hello to everybody. And so we're going to hear from 3 of our major sponsors this evening. Our first is going to be Ghirardelli, and it's CEO Joe Burrows. If you'd like to come up right now, he is going to say a few words.
I'm not sure who that young fellow up there is, but it doesn't look like me. I think that was taken pre-COVID. It's an absolute pleasure to present to the great and the good of San Leandro today, and just tell you a little bit about Ghirardelli and our story and some of the stuff that we're doing in San Leandro. Now, I am not 100% sure how I'm moving the charts on the slides. There you go. So look at that. Does that make anybody hungry? I hope it makes some people hungry. Listen, Ghirardelli Chocolate Company has been around since 1852. So it's the oldest chocolate company in the US. And as many of you know, maybe you've been to Ghirardelli Square in San Francisco. That was the site of the original factory. But actually, we started producing chocolate in San Leandro in the 1960s. So we've been here for nearly 60 years. If you can maybe go to the next chart. Thank you. It's a little bit about what we do as a company. So many of you may know us for our hot fudge sundaes on the far side, but we have a confection business, seasonal confection. Maybe you know peppermint bark. We have a baking business. We have a brownie business, and we have a food service business. So just a little bit about kind of what we do. And most of our business is sold in the US. Although we would like to bring the Ghirardelli brand internationally, only about 1% of our business is sold outside of the US. Maybe you can move to the next one. But we're very proud of being in San Leandro. Say we've been here for 60 years. Our main partnership is with the Boys and Girls Club in San Leandro. I will come back to that, Sue. But also we like to do events to really support San Leandro. So this is where we did a cleanup event at the marina. And again, I'll come back to that in a minute. If you can go to the next one, because I don't want to take more than 3 minutes. For many of you, maybe some of you don't know, actually, the best place you can get a world-famous hot fudge sundae is actually in San Leandro by our factory store. It's about 2 minutes walk from here. And actually, we put in the ability to make hot fudge sundaes there about 2 years ago. We've actually hosted some great events there. So this is a women's networking event there that we did there last year. So again, opportunities to do things. And we really want to become a community store, an opportunity for folks to have events and come and spend some time there. So I have 3 asks. I may as well ask some questions for all of you that are here. So I would love to, if anybody's not involved with supporting the Boys and Girls Club of San Leandro, we're more than happy as Ghirardelli to tell you, we get more out of that partnership than they get from us. And it's an incredible business with incredible leaders that are really supporting the young people in San Leandro. So if you have any questions about, hey, I would love to get involved, how can we get involved, please come and talk to me. And I have Laura and Dana also from Ghirardelli here who would be more than happy to talk. If there's anybody who would like to join our volunteering event, so when we go out with 300 people in the marina and we clean up, we take litter and try and make it look nicer. And every year I say to Laura, wouldn't it be great if we got 3,000 people out to clean up San Leandro. And how could we incentivize them, and what better way to incentivize them with free chocolate? So if any companies want to get involved in supporting our event, we will give you free chocolate, and depending on how many people you bring, you'll get more chocolate. And I'm serious, that's 100%. And then finally, are there opportunities for you as a company or a community to use our store? Again, if you have ideas about events you'd like to host or things you'd like to do, I can tell you the folks who came loved the event. They got hot fudge sundaes. They had a great time. They went away with a bag of chocolate. And more importantly, it's a nice environment to have a meeting. So again, on any of those three questions, if you would like to get involved, then please come and talk to myself, Laura, or Dana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ghirardelli. I think my favorite thing from Ghirardelli is the hot chocolate. It's like the best out there, like hands down. Our next sponsor is Kaiser Permanente, and I'd like to welcome Jacob McCarty, Chief Operations Officer, to the stage.
Thank you, Emily, for the warm introduction, and thank you, Mayor Gonzalez, wherever you may be. I'm really excited, looking forward to your State of the City tonight. How nice is this, to be indoors with no masks on? I mean, this is actually my first time doing this, probably in the last three years or so. So it's borderline surreal for me. Not kidding. But I've been at Kaiser San Leandro for about a year, but I've been in and out of the community for the better part of the last decade. I actually used to be the CEO at Kindred off of Benedict on the other side of town back in 2013. And before we actually opened our doors in 2014, I was at a planning event. And jokingly, I shared with someone next to me that someday I'm going to work here. I applied early last year, got the job in February, and here I am. So dreams do come true. As many of you are aware, for the past 3 years, our Kaiser Permanente team's been working very diligently, taking care of members in the community throughout the pandemic. And while we remain cautious, we're very excited to be able to transition back to community maskless and really achieve some high degree of normalcy. There's actually a lot of history with Kaiser Permanente in San Leandro. 50 years ago, KP actually opened up our first medical clinic off of East 14th. In 2010, as I just mentioned, we broke ground at the old Albertsons Distribution Center, and in 2014 finally opened our doors to the state-of-the-art medical center that you see today. Fast forward to today, and we actually see 250,000 members at our San Leandro campus alone. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing, and continuously growing. We are the largest hospital in town. We're one of the largest employers in the area. We're home to roughly 2,600 employees, many of which are physicians, nurses, who both live and shop here in San Leandro. And when you look back over the last 3 years, obviously our primary responsibility has been taking care of members, community, carrying us through the pandemic. But one thing that Kaiser has done very well is stay true to our commitment in giving back. And when you look back over the last 5 years, KP has actually donated nearly $2.5 million to local San Leandro nonprofits. Many of which promote things like providing access to care, ensuring economic stability, mental health, and overall well-being. Which brings me to our mission as an organization. The core of our mission is health and well-being of our communities. And that's one thing that we're going to stay committed to carrying out in many years to come. So Emily, thank you very much. Mayor Gonzalez, looking forward to hearing you tonight. And I'm just so proud to be a part of this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kaiser Permanente. And we have with us this evening Waste Management. We have Osvaldo Jauregui, Senior District Manager.
Good evening, everyone. And I don't know if I can beat those two presentations, but I'll try to do my best not to bore you guys. My name is Osvaldo Jauregui, and I'm a Senior District Manager of the Davis Street Transfer Station, where I have worked for the last 30 years. I'm also Board of Director for the San Leandro Chamber of Commerce. Today, I would like to speak to you about Davis Street Transfer Stations, who we are, and the role that we have played here in San Leandro community over the years. The transfer station is a 54-acre complex located at the end of Davis Street and is owned and operated by Waste Management of Alameda County. The complex features a state-of-the-art materials recovery facility and a transfer station that provides municipal solid waste services and solutions for the East Bay. We currently employ a workforce of around 300 full-time employees. The materials we currently accept include recycling, garbage, green waste, construction and demolition, mattresses, tires, electronic waste, appliances, and used oil. The public can bring these items for recycling. We're open 6 days a week. For those that don't know, the Davis Street Transfer Station has a long history in San Leandro. It began as a landfill in 1942, and it closed in 1979. The facility became a transfer station. With the closure of the landfill, the 194 acres became the Oyster Bay Regional Shoreline Park, for those that don't know. Then in 1989, the transfer station began processing, recycling, and over the years, we have continued to expand. Next, I would like to share about who we are and where we're going now. We do not consider ourselves a typical transfer station. Over the years, we have gone through a number of transformations, renovations, and improvements. We're always innovating with the latest and greatest technologies that are available in the industry, including artificial intelligence. Davis Street is on the leading edge of material recovery facilities. Our state-of-the-art facility is helping to support city and state goals towards zero waste, green waste gas reduction, and helping local communities reach their diversion goals. Most of our fleet of vehicles, from collection trucks to large tractor trailers, are fueled by natural gas, which comes from the methane gas recapture at the Altamont landfill. Our WM Air Care Landscape Center offers soil products such as compost and mulch products that are made from 100% recycled materials collected in Alameda County, processed at the Davis Street. To continue our company's commitment to sustainability, in 2019, we also installed solar panels on the roof of one of our newest buildings. We're now working on a second phase to expand the solar panel footprint on other buildings. In 2024, we plan to open a new high-capacity processing facility called MRF of the Future. This facility will be the most technologically advanced processing recycling plant in all of Northern California. At the same time, this would allow us to continue creating good-paying union jobs. The Davis Street Transfer Station also has a long-standing partnership with Stop Waste. This award-winning education center hosts students from throughout Alameda County to get a first-hand look at why recycling is important. The Davis Street Transfer Station has been a proud member of the San Leandro Chamber of Commerce and the community for more than 80 years. We love to continue to support local nonprofit organizations, participate in local community and business events, and we move towards a more sustainable future. The Davis Street Transfer Station is committed to partnering with San Leandro community and make sure we celebrate our successes together with all of you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Waste Management. We are so lucky here in San Leandro to have such amazing businesses, and they're so committed to the community, and they've been, supporters of the Chamber of Commerce for years and years. So thank you to all three of them. I want to give them another round of applause, and to all of our sponsors this evening. I do believe I may have left out a few of our dignitaries that are with us this evening. I know April Chan with East Bay Mud Board of Directors is here. So April, if you want to say hello, there she is. And if there's anybody else that I may have missed, my apologies. I just want to say thank you one more time to everybody for having this Chamber of Commerce be 100 years old. It's really because of the community and all of the chamber members, so thank you very much. And now let's get ready to hear our new mayor, Juan Gonzalez.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage San Leandro Mayor Juan Gonzalez.
How's everybody doing tonight? You fired up? You ready to go? I'm up here to turn on all the lights so that my eyes can see the truth that we need to hear. As we celebrate as we explore some of those challenges that we have and as we vision on where we can go as a city. So good evening and welcome to our 2023 State of the City Address. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Whether you're here in person or online, thank you for taking the time. I also want to acknowledge my city council members. Thank you for your commitment to effective government. Thank you for your passion, the time, the energy that you spend reading our incredibly long packets and asking the difficult questions that need to be asked. So thank you for your commitment. I also want to thank each of the local dignitaries that came here. Emily listed you all, but you have also taken time. I know that the demands on your time are quite large, and so thank you for taking the time to join us. Finally, I want to thank the team that makes this event possible. It takes a lot of hours, many hours, countless hours, to get all the words to paper, to get all the data that backs this up. So I want to make sure that we're thanking the Chamber of Commerce, that we're thanking the city staff who put this together, Mel Speed at the music company, Paul Jackman and his team at FunFlix. A lot of work went into this, and I hope you have an enjoyable evening. Should I say thank you and good night? No, okay. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about our successes. And I want to focus on our strategic successes and then move to the more tactical, department by department successes. So first and foremost, I think that we as a council are proud of our adoption of Vision Zero. We are committed to a world where we implement government policy and practices, that we design roads and we provide all the necessary support to eliminate all traffic fatalities and serious injuries. We're also proud of the overarching adoption of our 2023 housing element. We were one of the first cities in the entire Bay Area to have our housing element adopted, and adopted without exception, making us one of a very small group of cities. This demonstrates our city's recognition to the reality that we must provide housing of all different types, that we must provide that full spectrum of housing. But we're also proud of our climate action plan. Again, big picture. Because our climate action plan demonstrates the recognition that we, you, me, we each detrimentally impact our environment. And it demonstrates our commitment to reduce that impact in a systematic and sustainable way. We're proud of our equity plan. This year we completed a comprehensive diversity, equity, and inclusion plan, clearly demonstrating that we appreciate the value of diversity and that we understand our role in promoting equity and that we as a city embrace the power of inclusion. City Council, focusing. This is a fantastic achievement that we are really proud of because we recognize that there are many different possible choices that can be made, and that it's easy for the 7 of us to go scattered in lots of different directions. But I'm proud to report that our city council is aligned around 3 strategic priorities. First, infrastructure. We're going to focus our energy specifically on funding the capital improvement plan and implementing that capital improvement plan. And the result of that's going to be beautification and improvement of assets here in our city. Secondly, we are focused on public safety. We recognize the need to increase police department staffing, to expand the use of non-sworn officers, also to improve public safety. We will be deploying a mental health unit this coming year and have done the groundwork this last year to make that a reality. We will focus on reducing property crime as well. And the bottom line is, public safety is not just these individual actions, but also being ready for an emergency. And when disaster strikes, we've got the infrastructure in place. And so we are committed to shoring up that infrastructure. Our third strategic priority, housing and homelessness. And we're going to focus our energies on the specifics of, first, acquiring that Nimitz hotel and partnering with local nonprofits to provide a navigation center so that our most vulnerable, our unhoused, our unsheltered, our homeless in the community are provided the resource to navigate the complex bureaucracy of the county and to get the help that they need. We'll be establishing and implementing policies to prevent homelessness. And we will build all types of housing, both market rate housing and affordable housing. We must increase the supply of housing in San Leandro, California. These overarching points of focus signal what we value, and they lay the foundation for action. So let's explore some of this year's department-specific objectives. The first departmental thank you absolutely positively goes to our Human Services Department for expanding services to the most vulnerable in the community. This last month, in partnership with local nonprofits and faith-based groups, the Human Services Department successfully launched the return of our overnight warming shelter for the unhoused residents of our community. The shelter is currently opened 3 nights per week and has the capacity to serve up to 25 guests each night. But what's more important, and really much more important, is that this springtime effort is positioning us to offer these very services in the coming winter when temperatures drop and when the rains are persistent and when people are most vulnerable. The next thank you goes to the Community and Economic Development Department, who has worked hard to improve the speed and effectiveness of our permitting process. As an example of that dedication and commitment, they can boast that in the first 9 months of this fiscal year, in just 3/4 of the year, they exceeded the goal for the entire year in terms of revenue and construction permits issued. Clap it up. And Tom Liao, I know you're back there. I'm particularly grateful for you and your team for embracing my persistent questions and encouragement with respect to the permitting process, the speed of that process, and the opportunities for improvement. As a result of those discussions, we've identified specific areas for process improvement in the permitting process for accessory dwelling units, for the ADUs. And while residents and businesses don't expect perfect process, they do expect process to be clear and consistently applied. So again, thank you to that department for your effort. Now, you haven't built Central Callan, but you played a big role in making sure that Central Callan could be built. So speaking of permitting, we're excited that Central Callan, or 1188 East 14th, has finally gone from concept, and then design, and then permitting, and then litigation, and now finally construction. Central Callan represents the first truly mixed-use, high-density development in the heart of downtown under the transit-oriented development strategy. And it's going to provide the needed housing and community retail space. Sprouts, we hope. Yes. And so thank you for the developer for staying the course and putting up with all the challenges, and thank you for what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about library services. Because whether in our downtown library adjacent to Central Callan or at the Manor branch, library staff provide a breadth of resources and services. Today, we are back to normal service hours downtown and have expanded the hours at the Manor branch so that they match the service downtown. So when people tell me that the Manor doesn't get love, I say, look at the data. Both libraries are now open open 7 days a week. Guided by the value that we place on diversity, equity, and inclusion, this year, the library staff focused on updating our collections so that they reflect the authors and protagonists that match the cultural makeup of San Leandro. In our library, clap it up. In our libraries, we proudly offer bilingual story time for children whose families speak diverse languages, including Mandarin, Farsi, Spanish. To make our commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion more efficient and effective, we invested in software that helps us achieve that goal. Because, it's easy to say that there's something for everyone at the library. Please know that now we're working to make it happen. Amen to that? In that vein, we continue to expand how we think about our libraries. They're no longer simply a collection of books, but rather a collection of resources that can be borrowed by the community, including resources like laptops and hotspots, specialty kitchen appliances and tools. We also understand that the connection between our libraries and our schools is vital. And so this year we revived our partnership with the schools. We partnered with Books, Inc. to offer 3 assemblies to 20 elementary classes with author-illustrator Shannon Hale and Leon Pham. We also reestablished school visits and assemblies to promote our well-appreciated summer reading program. Finally, financially speaking, and I like the finances, our most exciting library accomplishment, financially speaking, is our $4.1 million Community Project Funding Award received through the support of our Congresswoman, Barbara Lee. These funds will be used to advance the construction of our Mulford Marina Branch Library replacement and the expansion to about 4 times the current size. The revamped library will integrate the natural landscape at the marina into its own design and will provide a learning garden that can enhance the butterfly habitat already there. Thank you to our library team for your expansive thinking, your inclusive approach, and congrats on $4.1 million. Whether we mention the Martin Luther King event, the Youth Advisory Commission, summer programs that serve hundreds of youth, or other activities, we can count on the Recreation Department to serve diverse constituencies across our city. So a big thank you to the Recreation Department. We're grateful for all the work that you put in. We're grateful for the work that you put in last year into the reinitiation of the San Leandro Cherry Parade, as well as the partnership the partnership with the San Leandro Historical Society to deliver the highly successful gathering. So successful that that partnership has left people thinking that there was a 2022 Cherry Festival. By demonstrating the power of partnership, that event laid the long-awaited return of our San Leandro Cherry Festival. So let me tell you what Michaela's saying. We come prepared. Michaela's letting you know that our Cherry Festival is on Saturday, June the 3rd. When? June the 3rd, Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. But before that, at 10 a.m., we will have the parade. And from the parade, we'll go straight into the Cherry Festival. The parade will kick off the festivities from Parrott Street through downtown, ending at the main library. So we're going to have, as always, artisans from around the Bay Area, as well as highlighting San Leandro talent. So we're advertising online, in print, digitally. Please share the word. Make this be the best Cherry Festival ever. Now, of course, we can't talk about the upcoming Cherry Festival without talking about public works. Because whether it's supporting events like the Cherry Festival, or other infrastructure, or repair-related work, we rely on public works to get the job done. But before getting started, while most of us sat inside some warm, cozy space, tucked away from the rain and wind this winter, our public works team worked tirelessly to clear fallen trees. They cleared those trees from roadways, from sidewalks. They unclogged storm drains in the middle of rain and wind and cold. They mitigated storm damage, and they mitigated storm risk. And for this, I ask that we all show our deepest appreciation. So back to the day-to-day. By closely monitoring the 311 app, the My San Leandro app, the public works team can quickly review our requests as residents file them, present them. And I don't know if all of you have used the MySL app. I strongly encourage you to use it. Go to Google Play and download the MySL app. You can also go to the iPhone store, whatever it's called. I'm an Android user. But download it. What I can tell you is this: unequivocally, it is my experience that when this gets reported, and this was long before I was mayor, whether it's graffiti or potholes, down tree branches, I can guarantee that they are reviewing and responding based on the highest risk items, and they do so quickly, oftentimes within 1 day, if not 2 days. So please use the app, and please make sure that we have the data on community needs, because that will guide the investment that we make. I'm particularly glad about the common sense that they bring to challenges. Thinking of our old city parking meters. Instead of wasting public resources trying to repair old meters with impossible to find parts, instead of saying, oh, I think I could machine a part to make that work, they simply get rid of the old meters. That's common sense. That's being a steward for taxpayer dollars. In the same way, the Public Works Department has made a one-time investment in the solar array at the wastewater treatment plant. This investment has cut the electricity usage in half, specifically for the benefit of San Leandro residents. That's environmental stewardship and financial stewardship. Now, when it comes to our roads and sidewalks, most of us probably see the collaboration between the Engineering and Transportation Department and our Public Works team as they work together to implement Vision Zero, right? Our strategy to eliminate all fatalities and serious injuries. You see them out there taking action, moving stoplights so that they're actually more visible, moving stop signs, adding flashing beacons to crosswalks to help keep pedestrians safe, adding barriers to bike lanes to keep bicyclists safe, making sure that brush is cleared so that when pedestrians approach intersections, pedestrians can be healed. It's easy to talk about making San Leandro an age-friendly city. It's actions like these that make that vision a reality. And for this, we say thank you. So let's talk a little bit about public safety, starting with fire. As our service provider, the Alameda County Fire Department plays a critical role in public safety. During large-scale disaster, we know that first responders will be unable to address every call. There will simply be too many calls. That's why we're particularly grateful for the training that they are offering before disaster strikes. This past year, Alameda County Fire personnel trained San Leandrons in both personal emergency preparedness as well as community emergency preparedness. These trainings can provide each of us the critical head start as we prepare for and respond to a disaster. We know that a disaster is coming. It's time to get ready. I'm also happy to report that Alameda County Fire's efforts to develop a mental health response unit have advanced substantially. And as a council, we look forward to hearing their proposal in the very near future. Clap that up. Let's move on to our police. This last year, under the leadership of Police Chief Abdul Pridgen, a number of police officers received crisis intervention training, resulting in the expanded and successful use of de-escalation techniques. And while I've personally heard many stories from residents about the professionalism of our officers, I'd like to highlight 3 examples. The first example occurred on Davis Street, where we had an individual with a knife threatening to hurt himself. Through effective intervention, we were able to resolve that situation peacefully without violence. In a second publicized example, we had an individual up high on a utility pole, threatening to either hang or launch himself from that pole. Officers were able to calm the individual, to use the de-escalation techniques, and to successfully resolve that situation. And a final example that to me is incredibly visual because I know the location specifically, we had an individual on a roof, and the individual was threatening to jump from that roof, which is effectively the 3rd story of a building, throw himself down in front of bystanders. And one of our senior patrol officers, who's now been promoted, worked with the individual, calmed the individual, spent 40 minutes with the individual, building rapport and convincing the individual that life is worth living. Life is sacred. Thank you for taking the time, for slowing down to make sure that we are truly providing public safety to those in need. This year, our officers were called on a number of occasions, but another one stands out, where they were called with allegations of an assertion of potential elder abuse. So there was an individual, an elderly woman living on Manor Boulevard, who was apparently experiencing elder abuse, with her son destroying property, selling the elderly person's items without consent. Not only did the officers address that specific call for duty, but they returned to check in with the elderly resident, to bring her food and groceries, to fix the locks on her house, to make sure that the son couldn't force entry again and continue the abuse. Thank you for your efforts to make our city safer. But none of this is possible if we don't have police resources. And I'll be speaking about the shortage of police officers and police resources more generally a little bit later, but I'd like to focus on a tangible success story right now. And for that purpose, I want you to imagine a Tuesday evening just like tonight. And you could be in a room just like this, and right outside, you hear the screeching tires that say, "I'm desperately trying to stop." And then you hear the piercing of breaking glass, twisting metal. And in your gut, you know there's a problem. And then you hear the muffled cries for help. You dial 911, and nobody answers. Just a few months ago, our police department faced a 911 dispatcher crisis. At its worst point, we were looking at having only 25% of our budgeted positions available for service. Without going into all the details of all the actions that were undertaken, I want to highlight this example because it shows magnificent collaboration between multiple departments. It shows what we can accomplish with focus. People work together from the city manager's office, from HR, from the police departments, and they united in their effort to drive recruitment for police dispatchers.
San Leandro Police Emergency. Hi, we need police assistance right away. We have officers that are on their way there right now, okay? I would like you to stay on the phone with me until they get there. It always begins with dispatch. Giving you the ability to be that voice that people need to hear sometimes. It is one of the most rewarding jobs that I have ever worked. Thank you very much for your help. No problem, that's what we're here for.
Join our family at the San Leandro Police Department Dispatch.
By focusing and working together, we have, subject to a few finalizations and tidying up some stuff, we have filled all but 2 of the open positions. And lest you think that 2 is acceptable, we have 3 applicants in the background process that are in place to hopefully fill those 2 remaining positions. In just a few months, we were able to turn around that situation. It's amazing what can be accomplished through focus and through collaboration. Let's celebrate that. Where's the city manager? Because I want to talk about city manager office successes. You know, the city manager's office is responsible for the high-level stuff. And in doing that, the job of the city manager and all the people in that office is to promote the city, to promote overarching well-being of the city. For example, this is where lobbying sits. That's where sustainability sits. It's where risk management sits. It's the overarching departments that help drive the success of the city and protect the city. Over the last 12 months, the Sustainability Division has used a portion of its $1.5 million CAL FIRE tree planting grant to plant an initial 320 trees as part of a multi-year effort to plant thousands of trees in San Leandro, California. The trees will not only beautify our city, but they'll help control summertime temperatures and support our climate action goals through carbon sequestration. The Sustainability Division also supports the Adopt a Drain program. We have lots of volunteers in that Adopt a Drain program. Do we have any here today? If we do, stand, please. Stand, 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 stand. All right. You guys are truly awesome. This year we had 65 new people who joined that program. Thank you. You are specifically making the difference that is bringing a better future to San Leandro. So thank you for what you do as volunteers. Thank you also to the risk management and emergency services teams for supporting the CERT and PEP trainings, with over 100 people being trained for that disaster that's coming. Thank you also for supporting the Emergency Operations Center. As you know, we activated that center the first week of January during the first of many atmospheric rivers. Through your evaluation process, we learned a lot, and we will be better the next time. There is nothing like learning by doing to make it real. So thank you for the time that you spent to evaluate critically our shortcomings and to celebrate what we did well in that operation. And finally, as a compliance auditor, I am excited to see your efforts in our risk management office to hold our departments accountable for implementing the safety changes that you've recommended and for auditing them to make sure that they're complying. Our public communication team also sits within the city manager's office, and you've seen examples of their excellent work. During this last year, and especially in the last 4 to 5 months, we as a city have increased our use of digital advertising to serve San Leandro residents and job seekers, both with static displays and with digital ads. Nearly 100,000 clicks have occurred to designated city web pages because of this effort. I say you clap that up. One specific example that I'd like to highlight is a video that was created to encourage people in the community to apply to boards and commissions, because I felt that in the past it was a little bit like inside baseball. We really wanted to have a broad set of applicants, and at least according to the city clerk, we had a shockingly large number of applicants. I'd like you to see the video that was prepared to promote that effort, if we have it.
Hello everyone, this is Michaela with the Civic Engagement Announcement. Please consider serving on a board or commission to help enhance the San Leandro community. Apply now at sanleandro.org/boards.
Michaela has done a great job at being a spokesperson for our city. I, as a chief spokesperson, am jealous. I'm super proud that the result of that effort is that our board members and commissioners are much more representative of the diversity of our city. So thank you for all of you that applied. Trust me, we will be getting back in touch with you for those that were not selected at this point in time, because we will be expanding our volunteer efforts. Now finally, as a person with some interest in finance, I'm excited to report a financial measure for the city manager's office. Separate and apart from the American Rescue Plan monies that were literally falling from Washington, D.C., like soda from a soda fountain, our team lobbied hard and succeeded at acquiring almost $8.5 million this last year. Talk about covering the cost of your salary. Great job. Okay, so we've got a couple more departments left before moving into some of the challenges that we face. I'll talk a little bit about IT. On the IT front, information technology, our new director brings a breath of fresh air. He and his department recognize that at the most basic level, their job is to help other departments shine, to succeed, and to keep the city safe in a digital world. Toward this end, the IT department completed a thorough infrastructure assessment this year. In line with that effort and consistent with the recommendations of the Community Budget Advisory Task Force, the IT department has also completed an Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP, needs assessment. And they've completed the associated RFP process. As a council, we look forward to hearing about progress on the new ERP system selection and implementation. We are way overdue, and thank you for that commitment. Now, while all this talk about ERP and IT infrastructure and systems may cause some eyes to glaze over, given the ever more digital world that we live in, please recognize that the work of the IT department is foundational. It is imperative for the transformation that we seek to deliver and how we deliver services to you. And it's at the core of the city's success. So join me, please, in recognizing their efforts. So where will we end with the departments? Of course, we'll end at the bottom line, finance. First, I want to commend the finance department for supporting the revamping of our budgeting process. Instead of simply taking last year's budget and adding 5%, the team worked hard with individual departments to explore how can we better serve residents. Do we need to add staff? Do we need to reallocate staff? Do we need to change job descriptions to bring in the right type of skills and personnel? And I can attest to you, having been at City Hall almost every day in the last 4 months, I can attest to you that there was stress in the system. That the push and the pull, the pushback, and then the other pushback, it was palpable. And that the result of that pushback and the debate and the discussion is genuinely a budget that meets the needs of our community today. This budget is the right budget to meet the needs of our community. So thank you for leading us through that process. Now, there's one piece that really does apply to all departments. Finance has led the effort, and that's highlighting performance metrics. You know, the budget task force focused a lot on saying we need performance metrics, performance-based metrics, so that when we're spending money, we really understand what are we getting for that money that we've spent, and should we reallocate to more efficiently use taxpayer dollars. We know, as a city council, that metrics drive behavior. And so we look forward to the metrics that you have developed, both as finance and as individual departments, to help guide continuous improvement in our city. Thank you for your commitment. Okay, should we take a stretch break? Because now it gets hard. Now we're getting to the challenges. Right? It's easy to celebrate. It's easy to clap up when people are feeling good about how things are going. But when it gets a little bit harder, that's when we have to hunker down and really check to see what it is that we're made of. So let's focus on the success. Let's focus on some of the challenges that our city faces and the actions that we are taking and will be taking to address them. And while specific neighborhood challenges exist within individual council districts, tonight I will focus on citywide matters. Now, one final thought before delving into the largest challenge that we face. Regardless of whether the challenges relate to finance or public safety, housing, infrastructure, something else, we really do need two things to be effective in addressing them. First, we need strategic focus, and secondly, we need operational excellence. Strategic focus. Inherently, strategy decisions involve making choices, oftentimes between two desirable actions. It's not either or, we want both. But in order to succeed, we need to focus and accomplish specific things and then move and pick up the rest. We also need to have operational excellence. I like to think about that as being framed in terms of people, process, technology, wrapped in culture. It's an operating model where you can evaluate, do you have the right people skill sets? Do we need to invest in our team? Process. Are the processes increasing efficiency, or are they causing chaos and havoc? Technology. Is our technology letting us accomplish more than we could individually accomplish by ourselves? And we wrap all of this in culture. Are we having fun? Are we bringing that joy every day to the interactions we have with residents and with coworkers? Do we embrace the goal of fantastic customer service? Are we grateful? Do we show gratitude? Do we embrace others for the fullness of who they are? In summary, we need to pick priorities. We need to focus on those priorities. We need to work together with skilled people, utilizing efficient processes, leveraging technology to expand our individual abilities, and do all of this in a fun, innovative, collaborative culture that embodies gratitude, kindness, and inclusion, not as buzzwords, but as the very soul of the organization. With this in mind, let's dig into the challenges. For years, the city of San Leandro has not fully and transparently examined, shared the full and total cost of running our city. Whether we speak about complex matters like pension liabilities and capital planning, or seemingly more simple considerations like the total cost of planting a tree, the question is simple. What does it really cost to run our city? And in determining what it really costs to run the entire city, we need to understand what each individual activity really costs. What does it cost to build a bridge? What does it really cost to add a new employee? What does it really cost to plant a tree? So let's talk about the challenge with respect to finances. I'll give you just one paragraph of background. About a decade ago, the Government Accounting Standards Board, and yes, I guess there are accountants that focus on government accounting. The Government Accounting Standards Board required that pension liabilities be recognized at the time service is rendered for accrual accounting. Before that, pension obligations were recorded at the time that payments were made to retirees. So what does all this mean? This means that a decade ago, even though a city like ours had an obligation to pay a worker well-deserved pension of hundreds of thousands of dollars for excellent work delivered, the city didn't need to transparently report that obligation to the public, to you and to me. Instead, cities reported those obligations as expenses at whatever point in the future they actually made that payment to the retiree. So potentially for a given person, right on their retirement date, there was no obligation recorded. But all of a sudden, there were hundreds of thousands of dollars of liability for that one person. Without the real-time visibility to the growing obligation over time, as more and more workers rightfully received this workplace benefit, a number of plans experienced financial challenges. And as a result of those financial challenges and the chaos, the Government Accounting Standards Board implemented changes. Okay, so that's the background. That's the academic stuff. But what does this mean for us? So I am looking for is that slide? That is a slide I'm looking for. Perfect. So I want to focus on that middle item first. We know that currently the city of San Leandro has approximately $150 million in unfunded pension obligations. That's $100 million for services that were already delivered. No new services will be delivered for that $150 million. Because of this obligation, residents need to understand that the state of California imposes greater and greater obligations on us as a city to set aside money to try to ameliorate that situation, to lessen the impact. These state-imposed costs redirect money that would be used for other purposes, like investing in roads and investing in firehouses. Whether it's roads, buildings, park facilities, they all need upkeep. Unfortunately, the city historically did not properly prepare for regular maintenance and timely replacement of those assets. The city had not systematically mapped out that maintenance and replacement schedule. As a result, in summary, today, we've got $265 million. $265 million in backlog of work that needs to be done. That's as of February. Think about the damage that has occurred in the city as a result of the persistent winter storms. Well, what's $265 million among friends? Well, $265 million is $7 million for failed assets. Done, finished, failed. $54 million that by all measurements are at the end of their useful life. But by golly, they haven't failed yet. $34 million are owed for addressing assets that are overdue on the attention that they require. And our roads, you know why you're frustrated with the roads. That's because we've been deferring maintenance on our roads. We've been treading water as hard as we can tread to try to keep up. But realistically speaking, we owe about $170 million in backlog of street-related work. So what does that mean? It means we've deferred maintenance in firehouses, parks, park facilities, the Family Aquatic Center. We've deferred maintenance on technology replacement. That ERP system should have been replaced at least 5 years ago, if not earlier. Roads. Roads are failing. Now, this deferred maintenance represents an obligation. It's a debt. It's a debt that we are not transparently imposing on future San Leandrans. It is our moral obligation. It is our financial obligation. It is our fiduciary responsibility to address this challenge. Do you think that it could get worse? Well, to make matters worse, we have failed to increase the fees for certain services in a way that reflects the fact that the cost of delivering services is increasing. Perhaps the most egregious example of this is the stormwater assessment paid by residents, paid by you, paid by me, to cover the cost of our stormwater system. That fee has not been increased since about 1993. How many people think that we can actually pay laborers what they were earning in 1993? How many people think that we can buy materials at the prices that we were paying in 1993? How is this even possible. And the consequence of that action is shown in this slide. In this slide, you can see that as those costs have increased, the amount of money that is being transferred from the general fund to cover the shortfall in that assessment keeps growing and growing and growing to the tune of $4 million in the last 4 years. That's money that's being taken from other projects because we're not being transparent with residents about what it really costs. I will tell you over and over and over, I will be transparent with you. We will talk about these challenges, we will face these challenges, and we will overcome these challenges. I'd like to focus on that last box. I don't know if we still have that budget slide up there. When we talk about the true cost of running a city, one of the challenges is that it assumes a certain level of service. What we know is that today we have less employees in the city of San Leandro than we did 15 years ago. We know that today, even though our city has grown by 11 to 12%, we have fewer people to address the calls, the building permits, the requests for assistance. We have a shortfall of investment in staff. Residents are annoyed. Some of you guys are even angry. Employees are frustrated because they know that there's things that they'd like to be able to do, but they simply don't have the time. Now we've got our financial statement auditors noting that our finance department has been understaffed for too long. We don't want our auditors challenging us. We must make the investment necessary to have proper staffing in our city. Okay, so how are we going to do it? Because everyone looks so downtrodden right now. To do this, because they are foundational challenges, right? It goes to the very core, the sustainability of our city. We've got to be bold. We must be transparent with each other, and we must succeed. Failure is not an option. We must appropriately increase revenues. We must increase efficiency, and we must advocate. So let's talk about those three things. How do we increase revenues? We must issue a public safety bond. As a matter of public safety, we must rebuild seismically unsafe firehouses. We did it with hospitals in the state of California. We need to make sure that when the earthquake comes that we're all dreading, that we don't have first responders trapped in the rubble. That is simply unacceptable. So we must fund it. So it sounds like some of you want them to be trapped. Is that? Do you believe in this? Do you want to protect our firefighters? Okay, then let's hear it. Okay. Not surprisingly, I'm going to tell you that we need to adjust our stormwater assessment. Correspondingly, we got to increase it. We got to increase it to reflect the cost of delivering service today. And we need to own that as residents. We can't pretend. We need to grow our tax base. You increase revenue through increased economic activity. Super proud of the online tools that the permitting that have been associated with have been rolled out with respect to permitting that are going to promote greater ease of getting those permits issued. I and others have been attending business gatherings, encouraging businesses, attracting businesses to come to San Leandro, especially those that are looking to leave the Bay Area. Instead of talking about increasing tax rates, let's work to increase our tax base. So that's revenue. What about increasing efficiency? Well, obviously, first we have to use technology wisely. Technology really can be a game changer with respect to driving efficiency increases and improving employee morale and resident satisfaction. Some of these things are super simple. Many people who are in this work from home environment or in the corporate world have 2 monitors to let them work on different things and to move items from one screen to the other. We should have all city employees with that basic setup. Literally, a monitor costs what, $150 these days? Let's invest in our employees. Let's invest in the things that will make it easier for people to get their work done. Let's also improve and automate processes, adopting automated workflows to speed routing and to speed approvals. Let's simultaneously improve performance monitoring and controls. You know, we're implementing performance metrics, but it's really about monitoring those metrics and about revising those metrics and being diligent about that. And we recognize that by doing these 3 things, we will drive greater efficiency. And last, and based on that $8.5 million that we got this last year, certainly not the least, we must advocate for our city. How do you advocate for the city? Lots of different ways. We stay close to our legislators. We go to Washington. We advocate. We not only talk about the needs that we have today, like funding for our navigation center, we also lay the foundation for our future needs, helping them understand where we're going, and in the process, thanking them for all the help that they've given us. Whether it's meeting with Assemblywoman Ortega, our current Senator Nancy Skinner, Barbara Lee's staff, Alex Padilla's staff, even spending time with Congressman Eric Swalwell, who serves a small portion of San Leandro, or staff for Dianne Feinstein. All of these actions are places where advocacy happens for our city. But I suggest to you that advocacy can happen by everyone. And that can happen when you tell someone, hey, let's have dinner here in San Leandro. When you tell someone, hey, move to San Leandro. When you invite people into our city and you work to promote our city, that is advocacy. And I absolutely, positively want to grow our grant writing gusto. We have a very high standard to meet, but we should strive to exceed it. I'm choking myself up. We should strive to exceed that $8.5 million. Push, push, push. So what should we talk about now? Because I think that we've kind of talked about everything that we need to about finances. Let's talk a little bit about public safety. Because when we did a survey, residents ranked public safety, housing, and homelessness among their top concerns. Residents are tired. They're tired of catalytic converter thefts and car break-ins. They're tired about seeing retail theft live and in action. They're tired of their family members, namely their children, witnessing that same theft and the apparent indifference of security personnel at stores. Residents express frustration at the lack of traffic enforcement, be it speeding on residential streets, the failure to stop at stop signs or red lights, the open disregard for rules of the road, like, passing the car ahead of you in the turn lane, like running through crosswalks when children are in them on the way to school. Residents are tired. Others would be just happy if we had some code enforcement. Can you please get the cars off lawns? Please. I've met with a number of residents and businesses who don't even report crime anymore. Why should I report it? Nothing's going to happen. Let me tell you this. You need to report every simple example, every single experience, because that's where we collect our data to guide our decisions. And although in the short run that may be frustrating, trust me, in the long run, it's going to be a good thing. And I can guarantee you this, some people are going to say, look at all this public safety, yeah. Guess what happened? Crime went up. Well, let me tell you now, I guarantee that crime is going to increase because people are going to start reporting all the crime that's happening. It's not surprising in many ways, though, because it's a national issue, whether it's here in San Leandro or in the Bay Area or throughout the country. So what are we going to do about it? Let me begin with a very simple statement. Kindness matters. What on earth is he saying, and how does that deal with public safety? So join me with a simple statement. Kindness matters. Kindness matters. Kindness matters. So why do I bring this up? Because to address this situation, first and foremost, we must value the victims of crime. In San Leandro, California, because kindness matters, we believe in the sanctity of life. And we believe that people should live happily and safely in their community. Residents should be able to trust their fellow residents. And when that community trust is violated, we as a community, we rally around the victim, we comfort the victim, and we ensure justice for the victim. And that was the specific purpose of our city council proclamation. We proclaimed this week Victims' Rights Week and reaffirmed our commitment as a council and as a city to respect and enforce victims' rights and to address their needs during this week and throughout the year. We will hold true to that commitment, and we will rebuild trust in our community. Second thing that we're going to do is focus on police recruiting. We're currently understaffed. I'm just going to focus right now on patrol officers. We're currently understaffed. We have the budget, but we don't have the people. We're currently understaffed by over 24 officers. How do we get here? Well, simply put, if you don't have enough applicants to fill vacancies, you're not going to be able to hire. So starting here in the last 4 months, we said enough is enough. We realize we don't have enough applicants. Prior to December, we literally only had 7 viable candidates in that pipeline. And that's not officers in the academy. That's the pool from which we're drawing to do interviews to see if we want to make an offer. 7 does not match 25, our shortfall. But what I love is that the same energy that was brought to address the dispatch crisis has been brought to bear on the recruiting challenge that we face with our police department. By bringing together human resources in the police department, by bringing the city manager's office and the communications team, we have significantly upped our game. I'm particularly proud of one of the efforts that we made, and I'm hoping that we can share this video.
Are you tired of shoveling snow? Well, come to beautiful San Leandro, California. Hi, I'm Abdul Pridgen with the San Leandro Police Department, and I welcome you and encourage you to go to weareourblue.org to learn more about this amazing city and the wonderful job opportunities we have for you. Thank you.
So in contrast to the situation that we were in, guess what? We now, instead of 7, in just those 4 months, we're now at 45 viable applicants. That's 10 per month. That number used to be at about 1.4 per month. Talk about change. It's amazing what you can do when you focus. So please give them a hand. One of the things that I like in that video is that the chief describes our city as an amazing city. I think that fundamentally, to effectively recruit, you have to believe that you're in the right place. If you don't think you're in the right place, you need to leave. We want to attract people who want to be in this amazing city. And so thank you, Chief, for identifying San Leandro as an amazing place to work. In that vein, another thing that we have been doing and that I'm particularly proud of is that we have reduced the number of officers on leave of absence. We had 13 officers in the fall that were on leave of absence. 13. Today, that's down to 2, if I have my numbers right. We're also focusing on slowing the departures due to retirement, because we know that in some of those experienced officers, there are absolute gems and role models who we would love to extend beyond their retirement date, specifically to help onboard, to train and develop our next generation of officers. We want to expand and will be expanding the use of technology. The most current example is the installation of the traffic cameras. These cameras were approved by the City Council over a year ago. 41 cameras with license plate readers were to be installed. Now, despite being ready to start, the installation of the cameras was delayed and then further delayed. And so after arriving in office, I said I wanted regular status reporting. And I'm happy to report that as of tomorrow, tomorrow's April 26th, right? As of tomorrow, we should now have 29 of those 41 cameras installed. And the remaining ones, well, they're hung and permitting with Caltrans. So we'll be working on Caltrans. But it's not just about what we're doing right now, but thinking about how we expand the use of technology in the future. And that's whether it's making it easier for residents to file police reports online, making it easier for residents to report non-911 related crimes through text messaging or other methods, to be able to use geolocation data to offer our residents the peace of mind in an aggregated form that says, yes, here's the evidence that we went down your street. Not only once in the last month, but actually 4 times yesterday. We need to take advantage of emerging technology that is now 20 years old, like voice recognition technology, and absolutely take advantage of artificial intelligence and being a leader in that realm. We will focus on reducing property crimes, and we'll do this by, among other things, recognizing that property crime actually matters. It is not victimless. When a worker loses his or her truck with $30,000 of tools, it's not a victimless crime. It's impacting somebody's livelihood, impacting somebody's ability to pay rent or make a house payment. Property crime is crime. We will encourage victims to report crime, and then we will identify patterns in the data. One of the emerging patterns appears to be that crime is committed with stolen cars. Guess what? And the crime is committed by cars that have no license plate. So maybe we can start using that technology that we're installing to flag those stolen cars and cars without plates, because they're certainly much more likely to be involved in crime. We're going to engage with our community. We want police officers to actually meet with residents, to walk neighborhoods, to ride bikes through downtown and interact with residents. We talk about policing and neighborhood policing and all that kind of stuff, but that involves meeting the people, interacting with the people, and we will be doing more of that. We will also work collaboratively with other agencies and track significant matters to see how they're being handled by our district attorney. If, for example, hypothetically speaking, someone is arrested in San Leandro, California with an automatic weapon, and that automatic weapon has a magazine that holds 50 rounds, what should happen? I keep hearing about the need to ban assault weapons. Now we have an opportunity to act when we encounter situations like that. So let's see what actually happens. We will also be exploring alternative models for restorative justice, because I'll tell you what, the goal is never incarcerating our residents. Incarceration is a waste of public resources. So how can we promote justice and accountability and understanding? Why were crimes committed? Is it the lack of skills? Is it addiction? We must work in an integrated manner with our social services teams to address the root causes of crime. And we must work with our unions and our employers. We must work with our schools to assure that there are job training programs and apprenticeship programs. We must give people the skills that they lack in order to succeed in our community. Do you believe in that? Do you believe that we should give people the skills that they need? Okay. So clapping's okay. You know, justice and mercy, accountability and opportunity, expectations and forgiveness, they can all live in the same community. Our objective is not incarceration, but remorse, repentance, and reconciliation. And with hard work and dedication, we will get there. I would like to see the expanded use of non-sworn police officers, or non-sworn police personnel. Based on my ride-along experience with the police department, I learned about the experience of a technician flagging a stolen car, identifying where it was parked. We've seen data analysis identify trends. There are aspects of investigative work that need not be done by a sworn officer. Look at the downtown ambassadors as a model, as a first line of defense for interacting with the community to promote safety. We must expand this type of service. And of course, as the downtown ambassadors have seen, they have provided support in providing initial mental health outreach. We've seen police officers do a great job with their updated training, and we will deploy support from our fire team as well. That's it on public safety. If that's not enough solutions, I don't know what else to give you. Okay, let's round the bend and head towards home. Housing and homelessness. We all understand that housing in the Bay Area is expensive, but what we may not recognize readily is that the percentage of households that own their housing is substantially smaller in San Leandro, California, than in our nation as a whole. In the nation, it's about 65%. And in San Leandro, it's just over 50%. This is a shocking loss of an opportunity because a house, townhouse, a condo, that asset, that housing asset, is the largest financial asset for most Americans. We must reverse the trend and help more residents live the American dream of owning their own housing. Similarly, we understand that homelessness is real. We see it on a daily basis, and we understand that the root causes are complex and that the solutions are not easy. Sometimes homelessness comes from addiction. Sometimes it comes from mental illness. Other times it's just physical illness that caused someone to lose their job. So what are we going to do about it? How are we going to address the housing challenges and homelessness? First and foremost, we will be expanding our warming shelter. I'm excited that we opened, and we are making progress. In the coming winter, I'd like to see that shelter open 7 days a week. We must provide respite from the cold and the rain. Yes? Okay. Number 2, we must build the navigation center. We must acquire the Nimitz Hotel and continue our partnership efforts with local nonprofits to provide the services at the Nimitz Hotel, to create a true navigation center that addresses the root cause challenges facing our unhoused residents. The eventual goal is permanent supportive housing. Number 3, we must expand the services offered through partnering agencies. For example, we do work with Building Futures to outreach to homeless individuals here in San Leandro every day. And we help them navigate the social services already offered by the county. We're also partnering with one of tonight's sponsors, Davis Street Family Resource Center, to help our most vulnerable, those who are literally 1 to 2 paychecks away from homelessness. So to these organizations, by the way, we say thank you. To support home ownership, we got to start with building more housing. It's a question of supply and demand to make it more affordable. We must increase that supply, and it must be a diverse array of housing. Market rate housing, workforce housing, affordable housing. And that's part of what makes the Central Callan so exciting. We must develop the success there into more development, not just in our downtown, but in all parts of our city. We know that while most San Leandrons prefer being homeowners, some do not want to face the challenges associated with owning a home. And that's okay. But for those that want to be homeowners, we need to be developing programs that help them. And that we know that a critical factor preventing home ownership is the time required to amass the down payment. And so as a result, we should develop an economically neutral program to help residents with that initial down payment. In addition to developing first-time homebuyer program, we should use that same opportunity to press on our developers to build owner-occupied housing. We have been highly successful at building rental units, but rental units send wealth that could remain in San Leandro. They send it to Wall Street, and they send it overseas. So it's imperative that we build up our community, that we build the investments that residents have in our community, and that we build the connection of those residents to our community. We should focus on income development. A second critical success factor in preventing home ownership is the lack of sufficient income. And so to address this, we must support workforce skill development. Thank you to the union members that are here, that are focused on this very issue already. And for our schools that support the integration of workforce development skills into their curriculum currently. We must expand those efforts. Second, we must pursue economic development wholeheartedly that will bring higher paying jobs into San Leandro. And that involves continuing the expansion for existing businesses and focusing on attracting new businesses, particularly in high-valued areas like robotics, biotech, artificial intelligence, computer-aided manufacturing, and food innovation. There is so much money being invested out there in these areas. We need that investment in San Leandro, California. No company should leave the Bay Area without first considering San Leandro. By working together, we will address these challenges. Okay, so let's close with vision. What is that vision? The vision is to have volunteers like the Adopt a Storm Drain volunteer program that are here today. It's integrating members into our community, supporting their efforts to give back. You know, when I was walking last summer, I met a guy that was sweeping in front of his abode. And I was a little bit struck, but I just thought I'd ask him, like, why? Why are you sweeping? He said, well, you know, I don't own this place. He was standing in front of an apartment building. I don't own this place, but this is my home. We need residents to feel that connection to our city. This is their home. So I've got two things. I've got an ask, and then I'll lay out just a few points to close. My ask is really simple, but it's very important, and I'm glad that we've got corporate sponsors here. I'm glad that I've got property owners here, and I even saw some children earlier. I don't know if they're still here. In particular, I want the residents of San Leandro to rally around the arts. Specifically, I'd like the residents of San Leandro to establish the San Leandro Endowment for the Arts, a $5 million endowment that would invest its corpus and year after year yield on average about $250,000 to fund performance art and installed art here in San Leandro. Imagine, I want you to imagine what a grant organization would say when we're out there asking people like Bill and Melinda Gates or others for some money, and we say, yes, we are a relatively poor city with a median income below our county, but we value the arts. Imagine when we say to them, we value the arts so much that we funded an endowment as a community. We funded an endowment so that in perpetuity, year after year, we invest in the arts in San Leandro, California. Boy, I think that would sell. Join me in being able to make that pitch by supporting this vision. So I did say it was an ask. So to my housing providers, by sharing less than 1% of your annual revenue, you could single-handedly fund this within 2 years, if not less. Okay, homeowners, before you get too smug, with the increase in property values over the years, you can certainly spare $1 a day for 1 year to fund this endowment. And to my school children and young adults who say, I don't have a house. Well, if every person in San Leandro contributed $10 a year to this endowment, we'd be fully funded in 5 years. We can do this, folks. And my ask is make it happen. Amen? All right. I guess we don't have too many art supporters in here. Okay, so now for my dreams. What are we building? We're building a city where families flourish, where elders are respected and young people thrive, a city where kindness matters and gratitude abounds, a city that celebrates our diversity in food, language, culture, that our libraries reflect that diversity. We celebrate through festivities and celebrations. We want a city that is teeming with recreational activities and community events. We want an age-friendly city that embraces the truth that every resident, regardless of age, is valued and respected. We want a city where art flourishes and artists are cherished. On the economic side, I envision a city that's walkable, that has thriving shopping districts, with small businesses that support each other, where economic revitalization lifts all boats by creating a breadth of jobs, where unions, schools, government, and businesses work together to train the next generation of workers, where Vision Zero extends from the elimination of death and serious injury on our roads to zero crime. That's being bold. That's being visionary. On the innovation front, I want a city that doesn't fear the future, that embraces the future. If you are saying that you are afraid of artificial intelligence, if you are saying that you're afraid of robotics, then you are scared and go dig yourself a hole. The future is coming regardless of whether you're afraid of it. So what we need to do is be ahead. We need to be embracing so that we can learn the pitfalls, not hiding. I want a city that innovates. I want a city where innovation genuinely thrives, where clean energy, autonomous vehicles transport residents for free throughout our city, where solar panels cover all of our warehouses. I want to be leader in the emerging technologies and in being truly sustainable by being innovative. And then to close with quality of life. I want a cleaner city. A city where trash bins are locked to prevent windblown trash. I want a safe city that supports victims and utilizes restorative justice to drive reconciliation. I want a city that embraces the power of volunteers and a city that supports, organizes, and nourishes them. And I want a city that supports innovative housing ideas, like the introduction of teacher housing, or housing built entirely by unions for the benefit of union members. I want San Leandro to be more connected and more intimate because we actually know more people in our city, not just because we say we're connected. So at this point in time, I am going to require personal commitment of you. You guys ready for personal commitment time? Okay, we tried it before. I asked you to repeat kindness matters, and I kind of got some muffled words. So we're going to see if you can do better this time. So practice. Repeat after me. Tonight I will meet someone I don't already know. Tonight I will meet someone I already don't know. That's awesome. I didn't actually think that you would do that. I am totally impressed. So if you're willing to do that, I'm going to come back to you with 8 simple statements. I'm going to ask you to stand. Here we go. I won't ask you to raise your right hand, but I will hold you accountable to this commitment. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. I will be kind. I will be grateful. I will innovate. I will meet my neighbors. I will help my neighbors. I will give more than I take. I will invite someone to live in San Leandro, California. Okay, you guys are pretty good. Let's see if you get the last one. We're going to do this 3 times. 3 times. And then we're going to close with 2 sentences. Let me hear it. The statement is, I will lift up San Leandro. I will whoa. I want to be able to hear you. So shout it out. 3 times, I will lift up San Leandro. Are you ready? 3 times. How many? 3. Okay, here we go. And when you're done, I want you to say, yay! Can you do that? Okay. So 3 times, I will lift up San Leandro. 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 Yay! Awesome. Now, I want to see that energy. I want to see that spirit. I want to see that commitment on every street, in every home, in every person. Because if we bring that level of love and dedication, we will succeed. And together, we will build a brighter future for San Leandro.